It's a very famous urban legend that I'm sure, if not everything, 90% of the people watching the video this knows it. It's about 5 people thrown into a room to do an experiment on sleep suppression. Hi, it's me again, and I'm going to decode it for you today about the Russian sleepless experiment. Of the 1940s, the researchers, the Russians, did an experiment. 5 people who hadn't slept in 15 days use odorless gas mixture. These individuals are kept in a closed environment. The oxygen is constantly being pumped in, but besides that, gas mixture remains at the proper ratio to keep them alive and, above all, unable to sleep. In that spacious room, they have everything they need: books and chairs to sit on, water and sanitation systems, the amount of dry food needed to sustain life, and they're political prisoners captured in World War II. The first 5 days of the experiment, the prisoners kept calling out, ask about the will they be able to return home if they comply. Russia completed this experiment. Meanwhile, the meetings, the conversation between the 5 of them was constantly recorded, and their behavior is always observed by the underground camera system. The story of 5 people. It's often what they've been through in the past. Family, wife, son, war. And when we hit the 4th day, the story gradually takes a dark and sad direction. On the 5th day, the individuals involved tend to tell me what you did and the events that brought them here. Some have shown signs of paranoia. They stopped talking together and constantly whispering into the microphones. It's something they use when they want to ask for something hard to hear, whispers in a deep voice, or they just stare at the one-dimensional lens, where there are scientists watching them day and night. Do they think they're going to get through 15 days without sleep? And scientists think that it's the effect of God. The 9th day, one of them started screaming. He ran around the room. I screamed with all my might for 3 hours, until what you can get out. It's just noise. It's probably because the vocal cords were severed. Scientists think so. But surprised, especially the reactions of the other individuals, the teammates of the Kia man. They kept whispering to the mic forever, until the second individual starts screaming. Suddenly the screaming stopped, as well as the hum in the microphone is silenced. 3 more days have passed. Scientists are worried about fever. Check the microphones for hours, see if they're broken or not. There can be no 5 people in the same closed room. It doesn't make any noise. They don't die. Index. Oxygen uptake shows whole year individuals are still alive. Healthy. On the 10th day, the camera system suddenly lost signal. But the experiment continues. You can only rely on the microphone system. Small one-way glass. And the light crept through the room that contained the 5 of them. Until the 14th day, scientists and the military made the final solution. Set up a communication system in the room. Make some suggestions with the desire to receive live signals. Though weak from the 5 individuals, whether they are dead or have moved to plant life. Someone said, we're going in to check the microphone. Avoid sound from the door and lie face down on the floor. If you cooperate, you will be free immediately. However, respond to suggestions for the above freedom. It's a short answer, speaking in a calm voice. We don't want to be free anymore. Controversy. It's between scientists and leaders invested in this experiment. I can't give you an opinion to explain. They decided to open the room on the 15th day. At midnight, oxygen is pumped into the room. The gas is slowly drawn out. Instant be urgent voice. Please let them pump that gas back into the room. Earnest. It's as if their whole lives depend on it. Anyway, the soldiers began to enter the room. They started screaming louder than before. And what the soldiers saw, it seems to be beyond their imagination. 4 individuals are still alive, but no one dared to say, are they really still alive? The dry salary is still there. It shows that from Thursday onwards, they don't eat at all. In the corner of the room, a pile of human flesh and organs sealed the room's drain button. Looks like this guy scratched himself, his chest and belly, continuously until death. The room was now covered in water beyond feet. 4 individuals are alive. There are also signs of self-harm. They have skin on their chest and abdomen. skin to blood still lingering on the fingertips, skinny fingers. How can we call them human beings? The soldiers talk to each other. The sick bodies. My blood is seeping. The shirts that are almost all skin on the chest have been peeled off, revealing the rib patches. The scratched patches of skin revealed red blood veins. But look, the digestive system is still working, capable of digesting food, as well as the respiratory system. They discuss, should we get these people out of the room, and this experiment or not? But the soldiers refused to go back to that room after what they saw in the lab. 4 voices took turns praying, continued to live in the room. In that gas, forces applied. Those 4 individuals reacted like crazy. It's as if they're using all their strength to resist coercion. They bite their necks with their teeth. Use your hands to scratch your face. A soldier had his testicles ripped off and almost broke a leg because of this brutality. In the meantime, one of the subjects was injured, bleeding continuously. Nurse, stop bleeding and inject sedative for the rest of the individuals. But it seems hopeless, despite being injected with a sedative. That's 10 times the threshold that a human can withstand. But they still resist like cornered animals, to the end, against the mad doctors and soldiers. They kept screaming for more. In the end, there were only 3 survivors. After coercion, they were immediately tied up and moved to the lab, while constantly begging to breathe the gas. The first individual to be brought to the operating table. He doesn't drop his larynx anymore, because it's been screaming for too long. He could only nod and shake his head. When a doctor suggested that he inhale the gas again, he kept nodding his head in agreement. Even a request for surgery without anesthesia. It's too much for a human to go through. A nurse rewrites her harrowing experience. He always smiles at me. Every time I glance at him, I catch his eye. When the surgery is over, instead of continuing to lie down, just like he's been doing for the last 6 hours, they continue to resist. Forever, when a person puts a pen to the paper, what he wants is made clear. He wants to be dissected again. Or rather, it's dissected. Second individual with the same condition. He also underwent an operation. But he didn't resist, but just laughing all the time. The laughter of a completely insane man. Moments that are considered to be awake. Of this person, it's when he breathes gas. When researchers ask them what they need this gas for, there's only one answer. I must always keep myself awake. Panic ran out all over the state. No one knows what's going on. And right now, the commander ordered, we've locked up all 3 of our lab animals and researchers. Prepare for a flight. But just before he could give the order, the officer took the handgun and shot him in the head. Just before, the general left the room in time. And with fear, he pointed the gun at the only one left. Ask a question. What are you? I have to know. The third individual smiled and replied, you forget us so easily. We are you too. Is that the madness is always hidden? Pray for deliverance every moment with your animal minds. We're what you're always trying to hide from. Avoid in every sleep. It's what you're trying to calm down. I want to find the peaceful life of the night. Something that never has. The doctor treats people. And a while later, shooting kills the individual. Study with a shot in the middle of the chest. The last words before the individual breathes. Finally, almost free. And that's one of the creepypasta stories. The most famous in the world. So is it really true or not? The answer is no. I didn't know in history. Is there any such experiment? But the story of this picture is definitely not. And the truth is simpler than you think. It's just a product of visual effects and Photoshop to turn a person's image. Become like a mummy. Turn the room around colder and colder. To look like a lab. Yeah, and that's the theory of a lot of people online. Like I said before, the truth is much simpler than you think. My friend didn't like this mummy. There's even a name. Spasm. His job is to decorate for the holidays. Association with a tendency to horror. Typical is Halloween. He didn't hurt anyone, even if it doesn't look very well. But he's still used by a lot of people throughout the day. Halloween party, especially between 2005 and 2000. Not 108. And he's just a victim of social media. when some bastard brings him home and takes sensitive pictures and then edit it and post it online, along with a horrible story. Now it's not just the bizarre appearance, and he's also famous for his bizarre story. No less.